Roger, it's a pleasure to welcome you.
Thank you.
It's interesting to be in the market because, you know, 2008 and 9 is when we had a huge downturn and everything came back, and it's pretty exciting to be around this place, especially the GM headquarter. And your company works with, like you said earlier, with the OEMs. So the question I have first is, the innovation happens with the OEMs, and they pass on that product to you, but innovation also has to happen at your end.
Absolutely.
So I'm trying to see where the two meet.
So one of the things that we're seeing as more important as we're trying to expand our business globally and in North America in particular, is that we actually perform some innovation, something that no one else is doing, and we have to almost sell it to the OEM. It used to be more traditionally the OEM would know where its cars are and what kind of, feature sets they need on them, and they would come to us with a pretty much a finish or nearly finished specification. Now anybody can build to print, so to speak. So in order for us to continue to expand our business, we need to think of ideas and anticipate where the market will be, not next year's model, not 2018 model year, but model year 2022.
Yeah.
And what do we need to kind of go from where we are today to what we envision transportation will be like in 2022? And then form some kind of a pathway to do that as we innovate in the research and development part of our business.
As you mentioned, it's more than economics. You said, it's how you look at, the cars will move, not just the people but the goods as well in the coming years. My question again is going back to the foresight to look into the future, but also look at because the core product in people's assumptions outside of the car industry is that the big three, for argument's sake, because we are in Detroit, spend billions of dollars in core innovation to come up with that. And if you look at any model, like you said earlier, look at the dashboard. Things keep evolving every year, from left to right, right to left, the convenience of which side the button should be or shouldn't be there, etc. When you go and get your business with these OEMs, is that something that you also look at in the future, because it has to go in parallel with what the OEMs are doing in terms of pure research?
Well, sure. So we look at, for example, let's use the human-machine interface as the dashboard as a trend. We do research in basic human function and the way humans interact with machines, not necessarily just cars, but with computers, for example, or video games, or televisions, or other consumer electronics. Because in some sense, in North America at least, the automobile has evolved into essentially a consumer electronics device that gets you from point A to point B. But really, a lot of the value that comes from the differentiation you have between a Corolla and a Lexus LS is in the consumer electronics area. So we do a lot of, as I mentioned in the human-machine interaction, we do a lot of kind of fundamental research as to how people operate with those other kinds of devices, and how the trend in how those devices is evolving, how that might play in a role in the future transportation system. But it goes down to the fundamental of human interaction.
So the last question is on next generation, next wave of human workforce. It has evolved. You had the straight mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, computer engineers. Now it's all blended. We don't know where to draw the lines, because innovation is happening in every sphere. Of course, you have the core verticals, but there is always this, middle space where everybody has to come together to collaborate and innovate. For young people, and you have tons of them around in good schools here who want to get into this in a vertical space to work, and then for entrepreneurs who are also innovating in this space, what are your thoughts for them?
So depending on the size of your company, I think one of the biggest traits or most valuable traits is the ability to work with a team. So you can go off and innovate, program or whatever you need to do by yourself or on your own. But really the key is how your little piece fits in with what everyone else on the team is doing, and how you can communicate exactly what your piece of the work is doing and how it works with others. I think an understanding and a kind of a belief in that the capability of the team as opposed to just an individual, I think is really critical in the success of people entering the workforce,
Okay.
especially in our domain.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Appreciate you
welcome.
coming down talking to us.
Thank you.